I would caution that if you have an ordinance like this and you had maybe a lot of situations where you had 3 college students who were pooling their money and renting a single home, if you make that formula illegal, those students are all going to have to go out and bid up the price of apartments that are already in College Station. So that could actually raise housing costs and ironically provide further incentive for students to go out and secretly, discreetly continue to do this and maybe in a way that's not announced and is maybe more difficult to be regulated.
In our careers as young professionals, lived in, group homes where it's a bunch of people splitting rent, and like that's a really basic way to be able to afford a decent place to live when you're at a stage in life where you don't need a multi-bedroom home. And I think it's kind of very unfair to put in these restrictions that, like Nolan said, there are definitely problem tenants. Like I don't think I would want a fraternity next door to me.
Right.
But those can be dealt with on their merits, and rather than sort of painting everyone who isn't a family with a broad brush.
Policymakers to consider with those overlays is that while they are fairly common, there are also a fair number of attorneys who think that those rules are unconstitutional because they're not regulating land use, they're regulating who gets to use that built space.
We're getting into the jurisprudence of what constitutes a family. And a lot of that was written decades ago. And that's an extremely valid point that these ordinances are potentially open season for lawsuits. And I would just add too that they are potentially overly broad because there are a lot of people who aren't college students who live together who might not be related. Or you might have, 2 families, like in the case that you guys were talking about, 2 families who out of necessity, out of desperation, are sharing a trailer.
Right.
It strikes me as, I think, very poor policy to then go to them and say, well, sorry, but to deal with the college students, we adopted an ordinance of no unrelated people living together, so you have to go find separate units.